When the West Coast earthquake in 3 days night. See, the way y'all gotta like write real sentences for us to understand it. Do you understand that, Vito? I don't.
I guess it was 3 days in a row, but there's a because I think the Super Bowl, like I said, because the Super Bowl is really the seat of judgment. Whoever goes to the Super Bowl, because the Golden Gate is how you get to the Galactic Center, because
Mm,
that's in between the Silver Key and the Golden Key. So the Super Bowl in itself could be a ritual that's basically setting up the big one, the big earthquake, to where you had that whole geographical landmass going inside the water, just like how they did in the movie Escape from L.A.
right. Okay.
So
So
I don't know. It could be a ritual, you know what I'm saying? So it could be setting up for something bigger.
indeed, somebody said in the super chat, I was so called abducted by extraterrestrials. I said so called because it didn't feel like it was an abduction. All right,
Mm.
I hear you. All right, I see we don't have any questions in the super chat, so let me get to some questions.
A lot of those
In,
times that can be your ancestors too.
okay,
You know what I'm saying? So
somebody in the chat said, BDELL said, what does the ice storm have to do with Antarctica?
um well, in Antarctica, like I said, when the Arctic ice, underneath all the Arctic ice, whether it's Greenland, Iceland, Antarctica, it's the motherboard. And that motherboard, like I said, is connected to the magnetosphere. So that's why I said there's an intelligence that's coming to the planet, and they're trying to intercept and siphon the energy. It's not a coincidence that you had the biggest solar flare since 2003 hit the planet, and then all of a sudden you have a winter storm coming. That's like I said, that's kind of like it's a concept of trying to steal energy. That's what I see it as. They're trying to steal energy.
I wonder if like areas, because like I told you, I was selling blue pill years ago. I got a thing. My heart is connected to Iceland. Like I wanna visit Iceland. I wonder if black folks move to Iceland, will we change the temperature? Would it no longer be Iceland? You
That would
know?
be cold. Hey, I bet you we will. I bet you we would.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we have those sun heat genes. We have granulations and prominences all throughout our biological structure. So that means that we have the ability to activate the neuroendocrine transducer. So when you have a culmination of people who was on the same bandwidth and the hive mind frequency, you can change the temperature. That's what raising up in frequency is basically a form of climate change.
Mm,
That's what climate change is. You're just raising up in mental frequency.
mm.
So that's why I said they trying to stagnate God. And that's why I tell people all the time on my channel, God is the highest extension of the mind, which uses elements and matter to express yourself. So when you're able to express yourself mentally, that's when you start to shut down shit. You shut down the simulation. You shut down the cold weather. To where you unravel certain things that's a part of the ecological systems of nature. To where you defy physics.
Indeed. Yo, they got this black beach in Iceland that was caused by the volcano, some volcano that's over there. Yo, shit's beautiful. Imagine
Really?
walking on a black beach, black sand, bro.
Mm.
Black sand, bro. Yo,
That's
it's
probably what sand is supposed to look like. It's probably supposed to be black. You never know. It
yeah.
might because everything is like soil and everything.
Mm.
It comes from so-called black. So
Mm.
that makes a lot of sense.
By the way, what you mentioned on 3 Hour Atlas earlier, what is it doing right now? Because the mainstream news is kind of quiet. There was like a lot of talk about it, but it's so quiet right now. What's going on with it right now, B-Dell?
I haven't really kept up in contact. I mean, me and Rod, we did a video recently talking about 3 Eye Atlas, and he was getting a lot of downloads from it. But I really think it's just one of those things where it's a play on words when really it's talking about the activation of junk DNA. That's what I think is what it's all about.
Right, right.
So I don't think it's actually an actual object. And if it is an actual object, it's not in the sky, it's in the ocean.
Mm, mm.
Remember they had that the blob that was in that was underneath New York City. You know what I'm saying? That I think that was a part of the whole 3 Eye Atlas psychological operation also.
Mm, mm. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Bito, they want to know what's your thoughts on time.
Time is an artificial construct because when you're talking about the Saturn moon matrix, it's another way to keep you trapped in time. So as I was telling you before, when I used to work, when I clock in, my time card said Matrix, but the machine that I was clocking into, guess what it was called?
What?
It was called Chronos, because
Mm,
you're basically being trapped in time. Because when you look at Chronos, you see chronology to where you're stuck in a fixed position reality to where you're not able to tap into your true power because you're stuck in time. You got to go clock in at a certain time. You got to go to bed at a certain time. It's basically disconnecting you from your circadian rhythm. It throws you out of frequency. So that's why I said time is an artificial construct.
mm.
Mm-hmm.
Beto, they want to know, is it possible that the ice wall is melting and we will be exposed to civilizations outside of the ice wall?
Uh, According to some of Dr. York's publications, yes. And I also there's a lot of movies that basically extrapolate the evidence. Also, I forgot what the movie was called. It's I think it was based out of Asia, China somewhere. And in the movie, it was a Arctic ice capsule in Antarctica got hit with a bomb or something, and it caused like mass flooding all over the planet. So, like I said, it could be one of those things. I don't know, but I know that there is ancient civilization in Antarctica. In fact, in Antarctica, when you look over the no, there's a no-fly zone in Antarctica that creates the sigil of Moloch, that is also acclimated to the Khazarian Tamga, which is also known as the Ukrainian crest.
Mm.
So there's a reason why. So that's why I said the sleep spell is being cultivated by the ghost spell, which is the sixth ether spell. And the sixth ether spell is controlled by the Canaanite, and the Canaanite is the Ashkenazi Jew who is basically subjugating that geographical landmass in Israel with the Balfour Declaration that they created. So that's why I said, like, the Canaanites are the ones who are controlling that geographical landmass by way of the frequency of the weather machine and the moon. So that's why I said the moon in itself is an artificial construct that also precipitates cold weather in itself.
Beto, they want to know, have you ever had an out of body experience?
I did one time and I got scared and I went right back in my right back in my body because I
Um,
didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was just something that just happened, and this probably happened around maybe like 2014.
mhm.
It's a long time ago. Like I literally was out, I busted out of my body, and then I was like, I could see everything. I see myself laying in the bed, and I got scared and went right back inside my body.
Yo, the deepest I ever got into meditation, BDEL, it was there was this DVD I had back in the day. This white dude named Burt Goldman, and it was called Quantum Jumping. And
Mm.
it's like it's a long series. It's a long series. It might be like a 30-day guided meditation set or something like that. But bro,
Mm.
man, like you said, I got scared too. You go so deep,
Man,
it gets scary.
bro, I got scared.
But man,
I was I was I was
shout out
I,
to you
yeah, I wasn't
good.
ready for it.
Yeah, shout out to Burt Goldman. I don't even know if he's still alive, but that was a good it's probably still on the internet, yo. It's called Quantum Jumping.
Hmm.
Let's get to some more questions from the chat. Let's see what else y'all talking about in the chat. All right. What are some simple things that the family can do to build their inner storm, sort of speak, while it storms outside?
Um, I don't know what you mean by that, but from my standpoint, is to be energetically balanced to activate the storm within you because the level up is not external, it's internal. So when you able to be, so you can basically got to have a warrior energy with the soul of a poet. So you got to be balanced. So once you're able to create that form of solitude and tranquility and create that form of equilibrium, that's when you're able to, activate the storm within instead of without.
Right, right, right. Let's see. Give me 1 second.
Balance is everything.
Indeed, no. Somebody said, you said aliens can be your ancestors abducting you. Can a Bigfoot be an ancestor as well?
In fact, some of the Bigfoots, they're fifth dimensional beings. In fact, Some of them during a lot of the indigenous tribes, they was basically working in tandem with some of the Bigfoots and the Sasquatch. They was helping them build, according to some of the indigenous folklore.
Check this out. Natural and New Queen says the volcano eruption in Ethiopia that hasn't erupted since the last ice age is what's causing the cold weather to be out of the ordinary. It happened November 23rd, hasn't erupted in over 12,000 years. That's
Mm,
interesting.
mm. And you notice today is January 23rd too. Wow.
You know, I was talking to somebody in the chat the
Mm.
other day. Um, mentioned Mama Kali. I don't know if you remember, as an elder I had on the show like 2 years
Yeah,
ago,
yeah, I
and
remember.
I ended up calling her. So I called her the other day. I believe it's funny the sister say this. Mama Kali said that. I believe she said it. I know I'm not bugging out. I gotta ask her. I believe she told me that 3i Atlas sent a signal that activated the volcano in Ethiopia.
Mm.
Yeah, she told me that 3i, she has some news on 3i Atlas, and she said that it let out a signal, and the signal is what activated the volcano in Ethiopia. So
Interesting.
yeah, great, yeah. It's interesting that you say that, Natural and New Queen.
And
So,
you notice the word, a lot of people don't know that the word Ethiopia also comes from the word ether.
mm,
So you just look at the prefix of the word.
all right,
Yeah, so it's like I said, so there could be a lot of truth to that, ideology. So
yeah.
I believe it also.
Mm. Yeah, I'm gonna get Mama Kali on the show. I was building it with the elder. She's sharp. She's 87.
Hmm.
She's sharp though, y'all. She's the elder. The elders. She's sharp. She had a lot of things to tell me. Some new stuff. I won't say. I'll let her. That was one of the things she said, but I'll let her tell the family. Let's get to another question. Somebody said, "Have you had reoccurring dreams?"
No, I've been having a lot of weird dreams, man. I've been having just a lot of dreams. It's just a lot of stuff that's been embedded inside my subconscious mind, and that's what's been embarking upon my dreams and things of that nature. So I don't have a lot of dreams like that keeps. I used to have one a long time ago, and I think that reoccurring dream. I used to have it as a child all the time, and I think it's something that happened in my past life,
Mm.
and it's the same one every time. Um, I kind of don't want to say it because I don't want to speak that energy on myself because I don't know if it's something that's supposed to happen in the future. But I stopped having that dream. I don't really want to speak on that.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah.
Definitely, definitely. Um. Yeah, that's it. This is a very interesting. Shout out to everybody. We got 2,300 people in the building. Somebody want to know if you could give them some book references, BDELL.
Oh yeah, got to get this. Salute to the elder Rod Hayes. Get this book called The Green Book by Almir Gaddafi. Get this
Okay.
book right here, because it specifies in the book when you have the collapse of the Roman occupational government. So the collapse of the Roman occupational government basically eradicates democracy, and it teaches you how to rebuild a society after you have the collapse of the Western world. And then another book I got right here. This is messed up, because I've been through this mug a lot. It's The Ancient Flower of Life, a flower, yeah, by Melchizedek.
Mm,
Then you got We Are Not Black.
mm-hmm.
We Are Not Black by Truth Ali. And then me, you, and other people was a part of this book as well, by Donna Davis, Sadler, and she got everybody in there was
Yes,
in the country.
Sister Myra. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
they
sister,
got my
yeah,
symbol. They got my symbol.
yeah,
That's my
yeah,
symbol right there, y'all.
yeah. You in here somewhere? You like in a
Small hats took it from me. That's my shit.
yeah, yep. Here you. I think you on this page right here. I
I
believe.
seen it. I seen it. Sister Myra showed me.
Yeah, and
Shout out to who's the author of that?
Donna Davis.
Yeah, yeah. Shout
So
out to
yeah, I'm in here right here, right
mm,
next to Ryan Coogler.
indeed.
And brother Rich also, man. I got word, man. My book they trying to turn in it. I'm in connection with some people who made the movie Supercell, and
Yeah.
they want to try to somehow they're going to try to turn the book that I wrote. They want to make it into a Netflix series.
Mm.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm.
So I've
That,
been in connection with some people over in the UK.
yeah.
Yep.
That that
So
is that is wonderful, brother.
yeah, that'll be dope. You know what I'm saying? If that actually, we get that we get the ball rolling. But I've been talking to him periodically, and we're gonna try to get that that transmission on screen.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
No, indeed, indeed.
Hmm.
Let's get to another super chat question. Peace, brother Rich and BDELL. What's up with high pitch ringing in your right ear?
A lot of those times it can be downloads, and a lot of times it can be frequency warfare. Because a lot of times you also have parasites in the brain that's able to emit frequencies inside you at the same time, because the frequencies that's coming from in our atmosphere that they're basically projecting, they also work in tandem with the parasites and the nanotechnology. Or like I said, it can be something metaphysical to where you're basically tapping into a certain energy to where, so sometimes when I hear like high pitched ringing in my ears, I just sit still and I just let myself absorb whatever that's basically be trying to be transmitted to me at that time period. Damn.
I do the same thing. Sometimes when I
Yep.
hit a high pitch, I just chill. Like, okay, let me absorb this. See, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Let me just take a
I
second to
like
absorb
I
this.
can be doing something. I could be like in the kitchen cooking. Like I go shut it off. I'll be like, just go like, what type of message am I supposed to be receiving at that time period? So that's what I always do. I sit still and try to make it make sense to me. Try to tune into that station.
Right, right, right. Let's get to another question. I just seen
Excuse
Dave
me.
with a question. Y'all were talking about the voice. How does your accent affect how you speak and manifest? Or is it just another tool of magic?
I think it's just another tool of magic. That's just from my perspective. You know, um, just like how up north, a lot more, a lot of people they talk really fast, and then when you go down south, they got that they it's kind of like they drag their words a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So it's a tone and frequency that's a part of everybody's geographical area wherever they live at. So like I said, it's your accent in itself is another way for you to tap into certain manifestations, laws of manifestation.
Indeed, indeed.
Hmm.
All right, let's get to somebody said your accent is your magic.
Yeah. Yep.
Indeed, indeed. Please ask Brother Beta, will there be a physical catastrophic that event that will change humanity or the world?
Yeah, it has to happen. But see, that's the thing, though. A lot of people are just scared about what is to come because they so used to working, they so used to having a job, their car. I don't care about none of that shit. Because you know what I'm saying, you cannot stop destruction because destruction in itself is really beautiful. It's art. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing to be scared about as far as like a catastrophic event or where you have an ecological humanitarian crisis. These are actually good things because the destruction of the old world is actually our resurrection.
Indeed, indeed.
Hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, let's get to another question. Somebody said, do you think there will be a 9/11 event happening around July 4th?
It's a possibility because when you look at the numerical components of Donald Trump, he was the 45th president and he's the 47th president, which basically equates to 9/11. And then you had on the Economist magazine, they showed you that on this year is going to be the 250th anniversary of America, and that's going to happen on July the 4th. And on the cover, it showed red balloons, and a red balloon is basically a signification of a clock with no numbers. Every time you see a red balloon, that's a clock with no numbers.
Right, right, right. All
Because
right.
the red balloon is also a representation of the number 27, which is also a nine, which is completion. So that can basically be the completion of the Western world that was that basically created you know destruction and affliction, economic disenfranchisement, colonization. So it can be like the end of that system.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm glad he put that in the chat. Yeah,
Well,
200. Yeah, 250 is also 7.
mm.
Yeah. Yes.
Shout out to Slimmy Your Bay.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let's keep this thing going, y'all. Let's see what y'all talking about. Let me see. Did I miss something? I'm trying to find. All right. What energies or deities are currently aiding us during this time? And how would you recommend we connect with or activate these aspects of our soul? I like that question.
Shit, tap into your Zohar. Tap into your Sahu body. You tap into yourself. So, like I said, that's a lot of people think that you have to tap into, energies and outside forces. You are those outside forces. That's what I was talking about, the neutrinos. The neutrinos is Holy Ghost particles. Those solar flares are the ancestors who died and are basically alchemizing our reality by working through your physiology. So the ancestors is basically working through you in the name of solar flares and neutrinos. You become your ancestors.
Mm. Indeed, indeed. Let's see. All right, let's see. Give me a second, y'all. Should we draw Solomon sigils inside the sun for true manifestation?
Yes, you can use that, or you can use the Sacred 23 of the Poly Mystic, which is the Asastragon, because the number 23 is really the number 5, and that's the only number that can basically pierce the veil, because it's in between time and nature. That's why when you watch the movie with Space Jam with LeBron James, he wore the number 23 because he was the glitch. Number 23 is the glitch. That's why I said the Sacred 23 of the Asastragon.
Mm. Yo, I seen there was this video I seen of Jim Jones, and I don't know if he was playing, it was a joke or something. He was like sitting in the middle of candles meditating. That's something I never did. BDELL. Like he was like the black dot in the middle of the circle. We talk often about, he's like sitting down meditation style, and you often see that in movies, like somebody's in the middle and they have the circle, or they have the candles like laid out like a star or something like that. What is your thoughts on meditating using sacred geometry in that manner? Have you ever tapped into any of that?
I ain't never tapped into it. Only thing I've tapped into, I did like use white candles. It's a Melchizedek ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And after that ritual, it basically gives you the propensity to learn more knowledge. It makes you want to learn even more. Right. So it's a lot of steps that go along with it, because you got to go from neophyte, adept to master. So that's the only thing I did with like candle magic, and you use white candles for that, and you got to sit in front of a mirror.
Indeed, yeah.
That means you got to face yourself. You got to kill your old self, which is what they do in the Freemasonic rituals, the Hiram Abiff ritual.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You got to kill your old self to tap into your new self.
Yo, man, I stopped, man. Listen, BDELL, I stopped talking about mirror magic. People are so scared of that. Mm-hmm. And they're seeing so much demonic shit. Mm-hmm. And they be like, they'll say there's demons in there. And I'm wondering, I'm like, is the demons in there, or is there demons in you being reflected to the mirror? You know what I'm saying? Right. People are, when I say scared shitless, I mean, they are scared of that shit, BDELL. So I don't even, I'm not here to debate with anybody about what to do. Everybody got to do what they want to do. But I just stopped talking about that, man. Shit.
Yeah, everybody got their own mantra, but like I said, man, like they ain't scared about going to church and reading the Bible. That should be scary enough for your ass. They've been, hell, let alone just standing in front of a mirror. And if you're gonna use a mirror, also you gotta use some of the mirrors from antiquity. Some of the mirrors, they got like it's like a silver surface on the back of it, like a metal surface. Those are the type of mirrors that you want to use. If you can find one, you gotta find I forgot what it's called.
Shit, you could put some silver on back of that motherfucker or something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, you could. Yep. Man.
It's crazy you said that, yo, because I got some silver. I bought silver years ago. Dr. B took me to some convention or something like that. I picked up some. I think I was with the dude Eugene, the dude from the farm. Matter of fact, it was me, him, and Dr. B, and I got some silver. And during the time, and I don't know why I stopped doing it, but I started meditating with silver. It was around the time me, Billy Carson, and Dr. B did this workshop called Blueprint for God Power. And shit, that might be why I came up with the idea. But I remember I got it, and I was so happy I had it. I went hard meditating with it, but I just stopped. For whatever reason. But what do you think is some of the most potent things to have with you? Since we're talking about meditation, what are some of the most potent things to have with you while you're meditating? You think effective? That's going to increase your effectiveness.
See, that's hard to say because I don't really use outside tools. I just really when I meditate, I just do it myself. Because
Mm-hmm.
everything that's outside of you is actually inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? People be like, "Well, I use crystals." You got crystals in your brain. You got magnetites and dendrites. You got calcites and apatites. You got silver in your body. You got the gold elixir in your body. Everything that you want that you want to use outside of yourself is actually inside of you. That's why I never really used like crystals. Like I have crystals, but when I'm meditating, I just use my natural self to
Mm,
receive natural energy.
indeed. No,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, definitely. Literally everything on the outside is on the inside. Like
Mm-hmm.
literally. Uh Let me see, man. Have you ever seen a? They want to know. Have you ever seen a demon or anything that's supernatural in the 3D?
I remember I told you this the first time I came on your channel 2 years ago. I had three beings that was in the corner of my room. I don't know.
Mm,
This was like in 2015. I don't know what it was. I was like in a theta state. I was half sleep. I was sleep. I was awakened at the same time, and I seen these three beings in the corner of my room, and it didn't seem like it was some type of malevolent energy. But all I know is that I felt like a warm energy over my chest, and I smiled. I remember that, and then the next day I was like, "Bro, what the fuck was that?" You know what I'm saying? And then ever since then, but what I think what started that whole process is because I was reading books, but my mind was just scattered everywhere. You could ask me something, but I just had like pieces of knowledge. And then I did a meditation one time, and I was like, if it's meant for me to understand certain things, make me an open vessel to receive the knowledge. And I
mhm,
kid you not, probably about maybe like a week or 2 weeks later, those three beings showed up in my room, and I felt like that warm energy over my chest. And it was kind of like, I guess you could say that was like an activation. I don't
mhm,
know. But ever
mhm,
since then, since that day, information just kind of been like clicking.
mhm,
And
mhm.
I think it's weird, but it
Right.
is what it is.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna do two or three more questions, then we're gonna get out of here. The next question from the chat says, "BDEL, do you think the hardest thing for an individual need to get past is the self?"
Most definitely. Yeah, you got like I said, because the ego is what keeps you stuck in the demiurge. Because your ego self is basically the personification of hell. So you got to get away from the ego because the ego puts an encryption over the heart chakra. You got to make yourself open to receive new energies to basically defeat your old self.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what it's
Uh,
all about.
Somebody wants to know, do you think cell phones are scrying mirrors with Ouija boards?
Yes, yes. It's a technological Ouija board. I believe so as well. Because there's a lot of spell magic that's being perpetuated in the form of emojis. A lot of the emojis, they're basically ritualistic symbols to basically keep you entrapped with different entities and dark forces. I did a whole transmission on it, but it's kind of hard to explain it. But I have an actual picture of what the sigils mean because those sigils in itself that's in your phone and the emojis is connected to the 72 demons of Goetia, which is also connected to the Nephilim and also connected to the cryptids that they got inside of Nightmare Hall and in these underground military bunker systems.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
damn. All right, all right. Let's hold up. Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to. Damn, hold up, y'all. Got so many windows open. Um. Somebody said, "What is it when you see an orb the size of a basketball?"
Oh, it could be an ancestor. It could be something, metaphysical. That's hard to explain because I never really experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
But that it's one of those things where it's kind of hard for me to speak about.
Somebody said, "I started vibrating last year. What does that mean?"
It's time for your ass to go to the hospital. No, I'm playing. No, it's actually probably a good thing because vibration in itself is a form of cymatics. So that your body could be going through a convergence point, a
Mm.
recalibration effect. So it could be a good thing.
Oh yeah, shout out to you.
Or like I said, you can have an accumulation of nanotechnology in your body, and you're being attacked with frequencies. So because frequency warfare is a real thing. Because that's what the frequencies is basically being used for. Because this is why they put nanotechnology inside of genetically modified foods for a reason. Because the nanotechnology that's coming from the foods is actually acting as a replication process for the parasites, and the parasites is controlling you, is taking over your vessel. You ever seen those movies, the old movies in the 1980s, where the parasite busts out of the person's stomach and their chest?
Yeah.
So that can be a real thing because when you got to study the Third Reich and the real society, and they show you like parasites, they look like draconian reptilians, but they grow in size once they able to reach a certain evolutionary state to the point where they're able to break out of a person's body. They
Mm.
show you stuff like that in the movie. Watch the movie Hellraiser. If you go on Tubi, watch Hellraiser. They show you stuff like that in Hellraiser.
Right. Right.
They put
Like
a lot of the truth in the old movies. That's why I watch a lot of old movies. You gotta watch the movies.
indeed. Um. Give me a second. Somebody said, "Brother Rich, I'm from Malaysia. How to order cigar? I'm not shipping to Malaysia at this current time. I apologize. I am not shipping to Malaysia at this current time. It would have to be like a huge order, but and just in general, I'm not. It's very costly to ship to certain areas." Somebody said, "What do you think the harvest means in the end times?"
I forgot what quote it is. It's in the Holy Quran. In the Holy Quran, they also talk about a smorgasbord event. A smorgasbord event that is equated to the harvest, and where you have these entities that come from the caverns of the earth and they feed on humanity. Dr. York talks about it in the Holy Tablets.
Mm,
Yep. It's like the final sacrifice, of for humanity. And they also show you that in the movie Cabin in the Woods, where you have the puppeteers at the bottom, and they come from Nightmare Hall, and they come from the surface in these cryptids, and they basically feed on humanity in the
mm,
form of a sacrifice, because that's another way for them to have dominion over the planet. You gotta watch that movie Cabin in the Woods.
mm, very. You ill with the movies, man. You be breaking down the movies, BDELL.
That's where the truth is at. The truth is in the movies, because everything that's according to scripture is a part of the script, and the script is basically following everything in the movies.
Right.
Everything's in the movies.
Yeah. All right. Let's do another question because this has been an interesting show, y'all. Very
And
good
if
show.
and if you're gonna watch movies, you gotta watch movies from the '70s and the '80s, in the '90s. Don't I mean I watch the newer movies as well because it's a part of the algorithm. But if you really want to tap into esoteric information and stuff like that, watch movies from the '80s.
Mm,
Specifically, Stephen King. He was an occultist.
mm. All right. Somebody said, "Is the cartoon reality the God self reality?"
I'm not sure what the cartoon self.
like I've heard this question asked before, like years ago. Like when you see cartoons, like right now we think this is reality, and cartoons is, I guess, imaginary, but is cartoon the real reality, and this is just imaginary. But like how we look in our God self is cartoon like.
I got a best analogy in a movie for that. Watch the movie Cool World with
Mm,
Brad Pitt. It came out like in 1984. He died and his animated self went inside the cartoon. And in order for him to resurrect himself, he had to go through the animation process to get a real body.
mm.
So watch the movie Cool World if you can find it. I'm a
Uh,
movie nerd. I'm a movie and comic book nerd. So
nah, nah.
I'm into all that shit.
I see, man. You shit. I say you sharp with these movies. This is a good question to close things down. This brother wants to know: do you think we can regulate this winter storm mentally?
Yes, but I think it's one of those things where it have to be something like we have to come to a cosmic convergence, meaning like in a form of unity, like how we did in Stone Mountain.
Mm,
That'd be the only way you can probably somewhat combat the energy, because what we did was powerful on that motherfucking mountain. That was crazy. It was a flood that happened after that, and all types of stuff. It was doves and bird and bees and all types of stuff going out there. Because that's the story of the birds and the bees, because that is the resurrection process of the gold elixir, where you go from lead to gold. When you go from lead to gold, that means you're going from hell to heaven. That is
mm,
basically a part of the story. So it's a form of metaphysical mind sex, which is a form of mind science technology. So yeah, we can do that same energy. You know what I'm saying? If everybody came together on a certain geographical ley line, in a powerful ley line, to reverse engineer of the weather.
right. No, definitely, man. That Stone Mountain trip, man. That was one of my highlights of the last
Man,
few
that was
years.
crazy. It was lit. It was lit.
Yo, I wish all y'all could have been there, man. To experience that in person. Bito, let me ask you that: is that, because some people say what they're afraid of is horizontal gene transfer? Would
Hmm.
that be an example of that gathering like that, where just being in the proximity of somebody with a higher consciousness or people with proximity, you automatically get downloaded? You could skip reading 1,000 books. You next to a nigga that read 1,000 books and who went through certain rituals. So now that gets transferred to you. Does it work like that? Horizontal dream?
It can happen like that, because horizontal gene transfer operates through conjugation, transformation, and transduction, and they show you that process in the movie X-Men Apocalypse. So like you said, like if a person who is asleep and you right next to a person who is tapped into a higher frequency than you, that energy transfer in itself can basically alchemize in your reality to where it puts you in a state of rebirth. So the same thing can happen,
Indeed. Man,
but you
Yeah, good.
but you just got to be open to receive it.
Mm, mm-hmm. Got to be receptive, huh?
Yeah, can't be like, oh, this is because another movie reference. You ever seen the movie Hook with Robin Williams?
That's an old one. Ooh, that's an old
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Yeah,
The movie Hook and Robin Williams. He was so acclimated to the three-dimensional world that he forgot his
he forgot.
powers. He
Right.
forgot. He forgot to tap in. So that's why I said, once you make yourself receptive to the energy and you believe in yourself, that's when you tap into your psychometry, clairvoyance, intuition, and telepathic abilities. That's when you tap into your higher senses.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, you got to believe in yourself to the point where it's you got to have a healthy form of illusion. That's what
Mm,
that was. That he was able to tap into his inner child, because your inner child is what makes you young again, to where you tap into your creativity.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Indeed. Um, somebody keep
Yeah,
out.
he'll be able to join the conversation with us. You're muted, Vernon.
Yeah, classic. That's my classic entrance. That's everyone knows me for that. I pop in
Okay.
on mute and I say what's up.
yeah,
Yeah, what's good, man? Nice to meet you, Bido.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Good. My name's Thomas, by the way.
Nice to meet you. I came across some of your videos the other day, so Tommy, he put me on. So nice to meet you.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to y'all, man, because when Tommy sent me the link to your site, I saw the big-headed scientist right there in the corner, and it's one of those topics that like one in like 1,000 people seems to have even heard about it, let alone know more of the details about it. So I'm interested as hell about that.
What's that all about?
What are you talking about, the big-head scientist?
Yeah.
So my understanding is like the Nation of Gods and Urs and Jakob and everything, right?
Yeah, it's connected to that, but it's also connected to the Nubian community. So when you get into the Book of Enoch, it's also talking about how you have the Shemites, the ancient Semitic people, and then you have the Hamites. So there is a diametrical difference between those two bloodlines. So the genetic splicing in itself started to take place when you're talking about Yaqub creating the dark races, which is not equated to the ancient Semitic people. So that's where people get a lot of the translation and the mythology and everything mixed up, because they like to put one bloodline under the same bloodline when it's not like that.
How much of that do you think is allegory, but versus like someone actually doing like gene splicing underground in ancient times?
I mean, it could be allegorical, but like I said, according to Dr. Malachi Z. York's publications, he was saying that was an actual thing that took place, and he was saying that it took place on the Island of Patmos in 4886 BC or the Island of P-line, but
Seems like the government set that dude up too, bro. If you look into what he went to jail for, and at first I wasn't feeling him because I seen what he went to jail for, but then you really look into it, he might have got set up by these people, which they love to do, don't they? They love to set people up, man.
Yeah, I think the more I looked into the case or whatever, he actually was set up. He's the only one that pretty much, as far as like, coming from our community, he's the only one that really broke down, like took the time to break down these religions and everything and draw you all the way back to the edification of UFOlogy and things of that nature. He was also a Freemason too. He studied Freemasonry, and I don't know if it was because he went into the lodges and started putting the secrets out in the books. I don't know if that's one of the reasons why they came and got him, but
well, something I've been finding out about Freemasonry too that a lot of people don't know. It seems there might be, just like anything in our reality, you have duality, right? So you got negative and positive, you got light and darkness. So why do the Masons use the white and black? I believe there might be a positive side of it and a negative branch of it. You know what I'm saying? This is just my theory through my research. At first, I was thought it was all evil when I first started researching it, but I don't know. I don't know, man. It's definitely very interesting though, but just like anything, I believe that it has a positive and negative faction to it, but I don't know. I would have to infiltrate it myself to really figure that one out. And that seems like too much work for me. So, you know what I'm saying? I ain't doing it.
It is a lot of work.
Yeah, it seems like too much work for me. But I think, and plus, I don't even think they're the ones really running things like people think. I mean, that would be such a low level. And like me and you was talking about on the phone, BDELL, most of the ones that are on the lower levels, they don't even have an idea of the true knowledge or what's really going on. You know what I mean?
As I was telling, I went out. There's a place where my dad goes. He goes out and they get fish fries, and there's a lot of guys who are Masons in there. And it was a guy I was sitting next to, one of my dad's friends, and I covered up. He had like his masonry chain on. I covered it up with my hand, and he didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, some people just don't know what's going on. So I just kind of just left it alone. But like I said, you still got some people who are part of that brotherhood just because, they just looking for, to collaborate and network with other groups of people or whatever. But you got some people who really know the knowledge. Some people really don't know what's going on. They just joining something just to be joining something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like Paranoid said, a lot of it's like an old man Elks Club,
Yeah, they
It's an
do
old
have
one.
a group called the Society of the Elks. I broke that down as talking about the I forgot the Leave the World Behind movie, because that was showing a lot of the deer and the elk symbolism in it. So it's all connected to that somewhat.
Oh, bro, that deer symbolism. Hey, Paranoid, did you get a chance to look at my deer symbolism I sent you?
No.
I gotta show this to the people, man. I gotta show y'all something real quick. I'm gonna be very careful how I talk about this, so read between the lines.
Okay.
This
Okay, my boy Andre in the building, Evansville, Indiana. Okay, we got Jade in the building, Evansville, Indiana. We got Belgium, Jackson. Okay. So with that being said, let me get this off the screen here. All right. So tonight's transmission is really based on the fact that, you know, there's a lot of things that's taking place as far as, you know, you got a civil war that's going on. You got many different psychological operations that's going to be taking place. And it's basically going to be used in a form of a distraction to deviate the chosen ones from their purpose, right? So one thing you got to understand is about, you know, the old system in itself was acclimated to the Piscean age, which is basically the personification of the third dimension, meaning that everything was based on deception and fallacies. So when you have all those things phasing out as we go into the sun cycle, while Pluto's in Aquarius, there's a lot of things that's going to be taking place because it's basically the foundation of the energy of karma, to where energy expands and returns to itself, right? By way of the cosmic pendulum. So, you know, you got to understand one thing when you're talking about the chosen ones. You know what I'm saying? Being chosen has nothing to do with what you got. It has nothing to do with any type of form of materialism. It doesn't have shit to do with money, because when you understand money, money operates on a numerical system, because numbers are basically infinite. So anything that's connected to money is not going to be acclimated to happiness, because happiness is connected to the numerical system of numbers, and numbers is infinite. So nothing, you know, in this realm is never going to, you know what I'm saying, is never going to make you happy, because anything that when you chase happiness, right, is actually going to run away from you, right? So you got to have the mental fortitude to become the vibration, because when you change your mentality, you change your vibration. That vibration becomes magnetism. So everything that's acclimated to happiness is acclimated to the old world, right? As far as people, places, and possessions, you know, you got a lot of people who are trying to stagnate the evolution of the Great Awakening. You know what I'm saying? It's not just only subjected to the governmental elites. It's also your family members. You know what I'm saying? You got your aunts, your uncles, you know what I'm saying? People you went to school with, you know, people, everybody is going against you because they know we're in this time period. Hold on for a second. Computer froze up for a second. But like I said, we in this time right now, you know, a lot of things is taking place, man. So you have to have the mental and spiritual fortitude to develop a certain mentality that's to where, you know what I'm saying, you be able to combat the energy of these negative forces that's propagated in the age of Aquarius, right? So as I was telling you before, being chosen doesn't have shit to do with materialism. You know what I'm saying? You're not chosen because you got a nice car. You're not chosen because you got nice clothes. You ain't chosen because you got nice shoes. You ain't chosen because you got a good ass job. You ain't chosen because you got a big ass house. You ain't chosen because you got a breast augmentation. You're not chosen because you got a BBL, right? Because it's all connected to materialism. What makes you chosen is using your spiritual gifts to combat the negative energy and the propagation of the archonic forces who control the Babylonian beast system. That's what makes you chosen. So in this time we living in right now, you have to use those spiritual gifts because they doing many different forms of incantations. They doing a lot of chaos magic. If it had let me show up some of these videos, because I've been having a lot of issues with these videos. Let me see. so I can show you what I'm talking about. Well, whatever. None of that stuff matters in the age of Aquarius, right? Because, like I said, we in the golden age, and it's basically the foundation of knowing. I gotta go potty. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. It's basically the foundation of knowing. It has, you know what I'm saying? Everything that was connected to the Piscean age is basically, you know, one of those things where it was connected to deception, belief in the age of darkness, right? So, if I can get these other videos going, but I still got pictures. So, one thing you got to understand, as you know what I'm saying, let me see. Phil, let me show it. You know what? We're going to do this here. Around you, right? Because, you know, a lot of these immigrants that's crossing the border, a lot of them, you know what I'm saying, some of them are immigrants because they, you know, looking for freedom and things of that nature and looking for some type of liberation. But the great majority of them are actually acclimated to the United Nations military factions, right? The great majority of them are connected to the infrastructure of the military that's being controlled by the infrastructure of the Democratic Party, right? Which is the deep state shadow government. So what I'm saying is like, you know, they're going to use that as a black swan event to basically overturn the election because they want to combat the energy of a republic that's connected to the sun cycle, which is under a matriarch. So don't be surprised, you know what I'm saying, you have an event that's going to be taking place, kind of like what happened in the movie Red Dawn. So what's going to take place is, you know, we're going to be infiltrated from the inside out. You're going to be infiltrated from the inside out, and it's all going to be weaponized by the deep state shadow government, which is the Democratic Party, right? Which is basically controls the de facto corporation. So the reason they doing that is to inflate the numbers on the votes, right? To extend the timeline to implement a different corporation. That's another reason why they doing what they doing. So for those of you, you know what I'm saying, who work jobs, you know what I'm saying, where there's a lot of people and a lot of immigrants come there, you got to be very meticulous of your surroundings because a lot of those people, you know, those immigrants is coming in, a lot of them are military and they just waiting on that call to, you know what I'm saying, for the psychological operation to take place, for the terrorist attack to take place, right? For those of you who work in factory jobs, you got a lot of those sleeper cells, those immigrants coming in. If you pay attention to them, ask some questions. You know what I'm saying? Ask, like, you know, just be very meticulous of your surroundings. So a lot of those people are in the military. So it's going to be one of those things where you're going to be infiltrated from the inside out. I have a video that basically shows that. If it'll let me play, you know, you got to be very meticulous. A lot of those immigrants are just not immigrants. A lot of them immigrants are actually military that's connected to the United Nations military factions. And they also hire them inside of the police force. And I told you the police force also has a secret force, which is a United Nations force. They got two different uniforms, right? And there's another video that's going around talking about, I told people about, you know, there's going to be many different things when you have when you're talking about the grid going down, right? So that's why the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the NATO, you know, they was basically facilitated and they galvanized their resources to combat, you know, the cyber attacks, right? That's going to be implemented by Russia. So when you're talking about, you know, Russia and things of that nature, that's all acclimated to one of the things where Malachi, what are you doing? Yeah, but it's all acclimated to, you know what I'm saying, it's all acclimated to Russia because Russia is also allies with Iran and Iran is going to implement the cyber attack. So that's why it's imperative to understand that NASA, they just bought and purchased a whole bunch of cars from the 1970s. I got a video of it going on. You know what I'm saying? Because when you at the apex of a fourth turning, when you at the apex of a system, right? That's basically the foundation and the symbology of the fact that when you back an animal into a corner, you know, they're going to create many different mechanisms for self-preservation, for survival. So they're going to hit you with an EMP. They're going to hit you with a civil war. They're going to hit you with a fake alien invasion, right? So that's why it's imperative for the chosen ones to start using their spiritual gifts, right? You have to use that intuitive ability, right? You have to use your octave vibration to speak the truth and put out the edification to combat, you know what I'm saying, all the fallacies that's being propagated by, you know, the multimedia. That's what's going on.
Can I go and get my channel switch?
Go ahead. So, hey, when you get done, you gotta sit down, okay?
Okay.
But that's what's going on. That's what's taking place.
I gotta go and get my channel switch.
Bro, that's what's taking place, right? So there's another thing that's going on. Let me find the... I don't know why it keeps freezing me up. I never have computer problems until today. So let me get this screen share going. All right. Is anybody gonna send me some questions? Also, what I'm gonna start doing, you know what I'm saying, as far as, you know, just because you have a platform doesn't mean that you're chosen. That's one thing. Just because you have some type of popularity, that doesn't mean essentially mean that you're chosen. Because, you know, what I'm gonna start doing, I'm gonna start opening my platform and giving people the privilege, you know, to speak their own truth. Because there's a lot of people who are chosen, they just don't have a platform and they feel like they don't have a voice. So I'm gonna start opening my channel when I go live. I'm gonna start bringing people on here so they can, you know, give out their edification and give out their own ideologies about what's going on. Let me see what questions we got in here. Now, there's many different safe zones. You have safe zones. The great majority, in my opinion, I think they're in the Midwest. And the reason I say that, because you have many different cavern systems. So just like you have Mammoth Cave, Kentucky is connected to the subterranean utopian kingdom of Shambhala and Argartha. So that's all connected to the Tibetan mythology and things of that nature. So anywhere in the Midwest, kind of like, you know, Indiana, Kentucky, what else? Illinois, you know, Oklahoma and stuff like that. God damn. This damn thing keeps freezing. But America is not safe because America is going through a state of judgment. America is one of those things where, you know, just because of, you know, theocracy and imperialism, you know, racism, classism, capitalism, that was all connected to patriarchy. So since we out of the infinity loop of the Kali Yuga cycle, it has to revert back into an energy of karma. So America is not safe. It has to go through a desolation process in order to get back the matriarchal energy in the people who's connected to the land. All right, we're gonna get some more questions in here. Let's see what we got. I already have a safe zone video too, by the way, if you go look through all my videos. I say around the time when you start seeing, anytime you see the, certain flags being waved up, because you do have a United Nations American flag too. It has 3 stars on it. When they start hanging flags like that, that is basically the symbology of the fact that everything is about to go down. I think it's a 1871 flag. It has 3 stars on it. It's not like the one that I just showed. That is the Western Forces flag of California and Texas. But there is a United Nations flag that they have to where when FEMA's activated. Let me see some more questions we got.
Oh, I'm winning.
Malachi, you gotta be quiet for a little bit, okay?
Okay.
I'm seeing a lot of, just opinions. I'm not getting no questions. Because we want to talk about everything that's connected to what's taking place as far as like the Civil War. If you got extraterrestrial questions, that's cool. We can talk about everything, but what he said. Man, I'm tired of this StreamYard, man. But yeah, you're gonna start seeing it because when the sun, they say the sun is supposed to reach solar maximum around the time of July. So we all know that when the sun reaches solar maximum, that is basically the activation of the Schumann resonance, and the Schumann resonance is basically the heartbeat of the planet Earth, right? So when you're going to have many different chaotic energies that's hitting the planet, that's going to, manipulate the neurological faculties of humans on the planet to where many things is going to be taking place. Because during the time when the sun was at solar maximum, back in 1781, that's when you had the French Revolution, and you had all these revolutions that was taking place during that time period, and it was all because of the chaotic energy of the sun. All right, let me see what else we got. No, not that one.
It's good now.
In order to be chosen, like I said, you gotta be Malachi. You can I'm on the, In order to be chosen, you gotta be, tapped into an energy of purpose. Because when you're talking about, the so-called Elohim, Anunnaki, or whatever you want to call it, you're no use for them, right? That, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people think that, these extraterrestrial beings, they're like emotional beings. No, what can you do for them? Are they able to utilize you in a great awakening period? Right? What do you have to bring to the table? Do you have some type of truth to bring to the table? You know what I'm saying? Do you have some type of healing to bring to the table? It's one of those things. Are you able to galvanize people to where they can unify in a form of harmonic convergence? That's what it's all about. It has nothing about, you know what I'm saying, oh, I feel like I like this person or that person's connected to that bloodline. Just because you got melanin and carbon doesn't mean that you're going to make it at the next level. Doesn't mean that you're going to make it in the Great Awakening period. It's not what it's about. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people think they safe just because they got carbon and melanin. Everybody got melanin. It keeps freezing up. But you know what I'm saying? Everybody got melanin. Everybody got everything. Everybody got carbon. But like I said, what type of melanin do you got? Just because you a so-called black person does not mean that you chosen. That is the biggest fallacy of the propagation of spirituality. Because spirituality is about having the mental and the spiritual fortitude to not be tricked. That's what makes you chosen, right? Let me see. What else questions we got in here? I didn't mean to put that one. Y'all going so fast in here, I can't even see nothing. Let me see. All right. I'm glad you asked that question because this is gonna be my next video. My next video I'm gonna be doing is actually, connected to the fact that, artificial intelligence is being facilitated for an energy extraction. It's an energy extraction that's connected to the Metatronic overlay of the matrix system. So with that being said, the technological devices in itself in artificial intelligence extracts neurons from our body and uploads into a neuromorphic cyber cloud. And that neuromorphic cyber cloud is basically the foundation of the reptilian technology. That's what it's going to be about. So that's all connected to the interstellar ley line grid system, and it's all connected to the electrical devices of the grid system. And we're going to be talking about the 7 energy points. So that's what my next video is going to be about. And if you new in here, hit that subscribe button, man. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know what I'm saying? Get everything out there. I don't really go live too much because, as you can see, I'm having a lot of technological difficulties with the videos, and it keeps skipping. Let's see what we got. I wish I was asked some practical and some good questions, because a lot of this stuff really doesn't matter. Okay, it's good to know I ain't lagging for y'all, but it's lagging on my side. I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. Okay, super chat question. All right.